We are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure my mic's working before I start rambling on. Perfect, it is. All right. Apologies for the members. I was going to do a members live tonight, as I usually do, but tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment, so I may not be able to have as much time to prepare for a show, so I may just flip it and do a members live tomorrow. But this case, I've been told about a few times. And this is Joshua Zimmerman. There is a manhunt for this guy, supposedly extremely dangerous. This is a wild case. Now, I've just dived into it today, and there is so much. And I know there's probably a lot of people in chat that have been probably following this case. Of course, Nick the Hat, person who was covering the Danilo Cavalcante. Always have trouble with his last name. He's obviously out there, been reporting on this case since I think like day one. 66 days now, manhunt. And just look at this rap sheet. I mean, this is a novel. Pretty wild case. So we'll go over what I have researched. Again, if for those that know this case and want to chime in, if I get anything wrong or miss, please feel free to put it in the chat, because there's a lot, and I think the public needs to be aware of this guy, because I mean, they have like 8 cities or more that he could be in, possibly have connections to, so it's kind of scary. This guy could be anywhere, and he now has 66 days, and he has been a ghost since basically since he got out on June 14th. I think it was June 14th or 15th, and was only spotted shortly after. And then since then, June 15th. This is the last time he was seen in the Memphis, Tennessee area. And we'll go over some of his background. I did have trouble kind of looking into some of his history before. But there is obviously some notes here in this thing. But I mean, just look at this. I mean, this is wild. There is now a reward that's up to $25,000. Even Dog the Bounty Hunter is involved, which is pretty wild. I grew up on watching Dog the Bounty Hunter. I know some people don't like him, but I grew up on his show. Obviously, that was kind of when reality TV was kind of doing its thing, and yeah, but again, we'll go over it all. Again, I appreciate everybody taking the time. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover true crime, mystery to the missing, and today we're going to be covering this guy here. And so let's get started, and I'll check chat here in a second. If you can, please hit that like button so we can spread this awareness, because again, 66 days is too long, and maybe, hopefully, there'll be a sighting. And they believe he is much more dangerous. If you guys remember the Daniel Cavalcante case, which obviously everybody was following. I mean, even when I wasn't doing live shows on it, I had a radio going, usually with either Nick the Hat or whoever was covering it at that time at the hour. And because I was just invested. Now this is a little bit different because they haven't spotted him since he first escaped. But man, there's some fishy stuff with this whole thing. What a wild thing. Yeah, Quantum Brain, good to see you. Yeah, that's again, I'm kind of new to this. I've heard about it. People have mentioned you should cover this case, and I've kind of looked up just the basic story. But never really deep dived into it. I wouldn't say I've actually really deep dived it yet. I've just kind of got started, and just wow, there is a lot. So we're just going to kind of scratch the surface today. But let's get into it for those that are not familiar with this. But I definitely think, especially if you live in the States, should be aware of this guy, even across the seas. I mean, it sounds like he definitely had help. Could have had help from some law enforcement or some kind of authority figure, because he just kind of walked out of the courthouse. It's pretty wild. So Let's get into it here. Melissa, good to see you. Melissa says, yes, I followed that through Nick and one other Florida guy channel. Fly Girl, good to see you. Alan, good to see you. Sensei, hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Gail Hurd, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. All right, let's get into some of the background on him. Sorry, I was looking at chat as it's going along. So this is Josh Zimmerman. Some different photos. Again, here's his kind of rap sheet. I'm not going to go into depth about it because some of it's pretty brutal. And some words I can't use, but in the top left here, and I know it's probably hard, especially if you're on the phone, so I do apologize, but the R word, ape, a woman, kidnap, and attempted murder in Connecticut. So in just one state, he's got a big rap sheet just in Connecticut alone, which is very bad. Then he also has... and even in the same one, not only women, I mean, he's attacked everybody. Women, I believe children, kidnapping, and then another R of a man in Connecticut. He left his DNA. Then let's see, I'm just reading it. After the DNA match, he fled, cutting off his ankle bracelet. And then the big one here is last year, and this is just truly sad, and we're going to look at this one, is Zimmerman. So obviously he had a rap sheet, that goes back, I don't know how many years, but this guy is clearly a career criminal. And it does have some of the same characteristics as the Daniel Cavalcanti case, because remember, he had a girlfriend, and obviously he had a rocky past that he was running from. And in the Daniel case, the girlfriend started researching some history on him, and he got suspicious of that, and he ended up killing her. And this is pretty much the same thing right here. And this happened last year, literally a year ago in August, it says. I think I have the date. I want to say it's September. It says August. I have September written down, though. That's interesting. I mean, it's around the same time. So anyway, last year, Zimmerman killed his girlfriend, Kiana Mercer, shooting her in the head at a red carpet inn in Houston. Absolutely terrible. He used a false ID card to rent the room and displayed erratic and violent behavior, evidenced by multiple reports of fighting and loud arguments from the neighbors and hotel staff. They do say the murder was premeditated, motivated by his belief that Mercer would turn him into the authorities. So Mercer, obviously, his girlfriend at the time, who he murdered, which is truly terrible. Shortly after, see, I've got different dates. This was what was hard, is like, I was getting different dates. This one has, I totally have different dates. That's weird. Then it says after that he obviously went on run, and then there was an attempted murder and armed robbery in Mississippi, September 27th. While on the run, Zimmerman continued his violent spree, committing armed robbery, attempting to take the life of another victim. And then I also read in the reports, or read a report that he was, and I don't know if this is, I believe this is after he killed his girlfriend, that he had went to like a Home Depot and was posing as like a worker, or like, somebody, if you go to Home Depot, sometimes there's people that are, standing outside offering to help. And I guess he did that and then held somebody at gunpoint and stole their truck. I believe that's somewhere maybe attached to this attempted murder and armed robbery. Again, like I said, there was some inconsistencies, but moving on. Flag. Oh, thank you so much. Add a little bit to help what you do. Thank you so much, Flag Girl. That is so sweet. I will take a look at that here in a little bit. Thank you so much, Flag Girl. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So, This is a picture of him actually as he was leaving the Red Inn, from what I understand. So this is right after he took the life of his girlfriend. And what's wild is apparently she had his last name tattooed on her head. And well, let's see, did I have that photo? Or did we already go past that? One second, I'm just seeing if I tried to have this in chronological order. I think I went past it. I think I was looking at chat when that happened. Here it is. Okay, my apologies. So this is Kiana. I hope I pronounced that right. And as you can see, it looks like, and from what I understand, he does tattoos as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat for those that have been following this case. But anyway, here's his last name. And from what I understand, he shot her where the tattoo is. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. If someone can let me know in chat. Like I said, there was some reports that are kind of inconsistent on this. It was a little bit tough to kind of get the proper narrative. But either way, so that's what kind of informed them on who they were looking for. Because apparently he has an alias, and I'm sure he's got more. But apparently he goes by... where is his alias? Vincent Guarino Giuliano, I think is how it's pronounced. I might have butchered that. So he does have other names or aliases as well. But again, this is after he took her life, sadly, and then would eventually be arrested. Now I have him being arrested in September. I'm not sure if this is from September or not. And then he would be transferred to DeSoto County, Mississippi, and this is where things get really weird. So as he was going to be going to court on June 14th of this year, I'm assuming for obviously his previous endeavors, he somehow was able to get out of his handcuffs. And we're going to listen to multiple reports because it's really fishy. But he just basically got out of his cuffs. Now, some reports say that he had like switched clothing. Clearly, he's got a beanie on or a cap on. Looks like he's wearing pants, but then a sheriff says no, these are just what they wear, like I guess under the jumpsuit or something. I don't know. It didn't make sense in that really these aren't pajamas, or they aren't pants, but they're pajamas. I mean, this case is really really weird. But yeah, so he escapes June 14th, walks right out, and then the footage apparently goes missing. And they believe that that somebody obviously helped him out, had like a some kind of kit for him, clothing, and he just basically walked right out. And then got a ride, and then there was a good Samaritan across the street that drove him to Memphis, Tennessee. If you're not familiar with the layout out there, DeSoto, Mississippi is only 20 minutes away from Memphis, Tennessee, so it's close up there to Tennessee and the border. So 10 minutes and you're across state lines. So here's the first report here.
On your news later, the DeSoto County District Attorney says video evidence of an inmate's escape has been stolen for nearly a week. Joshua Zimmerman, who's facing an attempted murder charge out of South Haven and a murder charge in Texas, has been on the run. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Now a grand jury has been appointed to get to the bottom of what happened to the video and if it's suggesting someone on the inside may have helped the inmate. Our Shay Simon has that story.
New twists and turns in the investigation of a career criminal walking straight out of the courthouse.
There are civilians that are not part of law enforcement that had a leaked version of at least one of the camera angles.
This photo shows Joshua James Zimmerman before getting away.
Yeah, sorry, Karen. I did have it set for 8 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 6 my time. But yeah, I moved it up a half hour. I apologize.
But District Attorney Matthew Barton says video of Zimmerman's escape was taken from the DA's office Wednesday, the same day they got it.
Once that was taken, that's when we realized that in order for there to be the true transparency that we need, we're going to have to hand this over to a grand jury.
Now Barton is appointing a grand jury to investigate the courthouse and anyone associated with state evidence. When asked if an employee helped 31-year-old Zimmerman get away, Barton warns.
I will say it is a felony crime to tamper with evidence.
So what does this video actually show? Barton
So there's another little better photo of it. And we'll see a couple of different photographs. Now, this is the only one. Sorry. Oh.
If an employee helped 31-year-old Zimmerman get away, Barton warns.
I will say it is a felony crime to tamper with evidence.
So what?
So right there, I mean, doesn't that look like pants? That does not look like pajamas, right? Let me know what you guys think in chat. I mean, if you're on the phone, it might be a little bit harder. That looks like a pair of, I mean, almost looks like cargo pants, you know, kind of like the tan, maybe just without the cargo pockets. I can't quite tell. But those look like, you know, kind of light gray tan. It's kind of tough to tell from the color and shadow. Those do not look like pajamas. I don't know what kind of pajamas they wear in jail or county, whatever. Again, the sheriff's going to tell kind of a slightly different story. You know, the narrative that this guy is saying is that he had help and he got a pair of, you know, some new clothing. And, I mean, where did he get, you know, I doubt they're allowing them to wear nightcaps. Again, I've never been in jail. I've never, you know, not to say I was a good boy, you know, I was a teenager, but, you know, I've never dealt with the system ever. So I'm kind of inexperienced with all that stuff. But this just doesn't look like what you'd be wearing under the jumpsuit, because that's what the sheriff kind of makes it sound like.
What does this video actually show? Barton gave WREG a breakdown this week.
They were going upstairs to the courtroom. He's wearing shackles and a jumpsuit like everybody else.
No.
Went through a door.
No, that's I know Zimmerman's a big name. Was George Zimmerman? I apologize. Yeah. Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman. Yeah, not the same case. Different Zimmerman. Gigi, good to see you. Looks like trousers. Yeah, it looks like pants. And there's actually another shot too that we'll look at here in a minute. But the way this guy talks, he looks. I mean, I don't blame him if he doesn't have anything to hide. But the way he talks sounds really nervous and sketchy.
Sometime later, he left the courthouse with no shackles and street clothes.
So, right there, no shackles, street clothes. Keep that in mind, because we're going to listen to the sheriff in a little bit, and he's going to tell a little bit different story.
Internal investigation begins. DeSoto County Sheriff Thomas Tuggle is clear on where his focus remains.
Zimmerman, if you're out there and you hear this.
And we're going to listen to his interview here in a minute, and it's much different.
Turn yourself in, because we're going to find you. And I promise you, we're going to put your gluteus maximus in a cell by yourself.
In DeSoto County, Shay Simon, WREG News Channel 3.
So, again, here is his kind of rap sheet, just kind of, you know, narrowed down. But, I mean, look at that. I mean, half that stuff I, you know, can't really say. YouTube doesn't like a lot of these words, but it's bad. This guy is a very dangerous person who needs to be taken off the streets. You know, Texas, first degree, that's where he took his girlfriend's life. Mississippi, attempted murder, armed robbery. Connecticut, huge rap sheet. I mean, you name it, he's done it. And then there's a video we'll see of him where he'd gotten out from one of these previous charges, and he's on an ankle monitor. It's a short video, but he's holding like thousands of dollars of cash in hand, flexing is what they call it. And so this guy's got connections, clearly. Now, again, I'm just barely getting into this case, so correct me if I get anything wrong. But from what I understand is they believe that this guy's got some deep connections, even think he may be like a criminal informant. And that's why they're having so much tough time, because he's got just deep connections. And then it gets into like cults and stuff. Like it's pretty wild. Hey, Tammy Crimes, good to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. So here, this is important.
Attorney Matthew Barton.
Oops, sorry. And then we're going to So here's some areas that they believe he could be in. Now, obviously, his last known place, but I doubt he's there. Then again, who knows? Would be Memphis, Tennessee. But look at this: West Memphis, Arkansas, Waterbury, Connecticut, Broward County, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, a lot of places in Georgia, Macon, is it Macon, Georgia? DeSoto County, Mississippi. I think that'd be the last place. Then again, Danilo didn't get too far, but that, of course, they were chasing him from day one. So, Raleigh, North Carolina, New York, Memphis, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and then they even have another list of they have primary list of cities that he could be in, and then they have a secondary list. I mean, it's crazy. And we're talking, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 states alone that he has connections in. And I recall, I remember hearing Cleveland, Ohio, and I don't even see that up here. So, yeah.
Attorney Matthew Barton adamantly declared.
If we get a chance, I'll have to see if I can look and see what the latest, because I did find a place or a site that had the primary places that they believe, are worried that he could be in, and then secondary. But this is wild. Again, if you're just coming in, 66 days he's been on the run. He is bigger threat than Danilo Cavalcante. I think I forget the threat level. But yeah, this is serious.
Aired Thursday after making a bombshell announcement regarding the case of escaped inmate Joshua Zimmerman.
We had that securely stored on our...
So, and then if you missed it, so he escaped, and we're going to look at some different things and then listen to 2 different stories. Because remember, this guy says that, he got out in street clothes. And then the footage that apparently shows him escaping and stuff. So they had a hard copy and then one on the cloud. Apparently both of those are gone. So whoever was probably involved, if not maybe more than one person, clearly didn't want that evidence, that footage being out there, which is really, level 3. Thank you. I wanted to say that, but it's tough when you deep dive a case for the first time because there's so much. And what did he do? What didn't he do would be the better question, Scott. Sadly, he would be on death row. That's where he's at.
Our server, where we keep all of our evidence. Some co-conspirators from an outside entity, not the state of Mississippi, local entities.
Look at that.
Directed the county IT to go onto my server and delete state's evidence.
The material D.A. Barton says was deleted from his server Wednesday was the surveillance footage that shows Joshua Zimmerman escaping the courthouse Friday.
We got every camera angle in the courthouse. The video that I had obtained through lawful and traditional and appropriate manners in the scope of the duties that my investigators have was deleted because of these co-conspirators.
In Thursday's press conference, Barton told Fox 13 he knows who stole and deleted video footage from his server.
Can you share how you're so certain that someone took the video from you and stole it?
I confronted people that did it.
Did they?
It was affirmed, and yes, it was confirmed. I know which entities did it, and it was admitted to.
Which entities? I mean, again, that could just be plural for the sake of plural, but entities, multiple people. I would think it would probably be multiple people, because according to Nick the Hat, he got a care package basically as he escaped. Whoever was helping him. So that's pretty scary. Yeah, and we're going to talk about, thank you, Buddha. Good to see you. This guy, nothing wrong with cross-dressing, but this guy, has been known to cross-dress to, obviously go, hide his identity, which is just even that much scarier, that this guy would go to any lengths to, not be apprehended.
Why did they say they did it?
I can't speak for what their motives were. All I know is there's evidence of a crime that I needed as part of my investigation to find out why a known murderer is walking through the same walkways as my staff and all the people that were in public that day.
The Barton says the grand jury will investigate. Pardon me. They will investigate the agency or any person responsible for taking that video. The grand jury will also take a closer look at courthouses as well as county facilities to take a closer look at the safekeeping of the inmates. The grand jury will also investigate the escape of Joshua Zimmerman. Daryl Darcy.
That is Fox 13's The Car.
So now here's the sheriff. Now I will say I love this guy, the way he talks, but it's really, at the same time, it's super fishy because obviously what he's going to say is completely different than what was that guy, a district attorney that we were hearing from? Because he said, he escaped in street clothes, which, has been the official narrative. But he says something different, although he does have some interesting quotes. Tammy Crimes, good to see you. Maybell, good to see you. Been following this Nick the Hat's coverage. I really enjoyed his coverage of Danilo Cavalcante. Of course, he was out there on the front lines. And yeah, it seems like he's been on this case since day one. I've seen it, a few times throughout it's been over 2 months. I was kind of waiting to, until there was actual, a sighting. But man, 66 days and nothing. And I think more people should be covering this because, again, this guy is dangerous. But let's hear what the sheriff from DeSoto County has to say about the escape, because it's a little bit different.
Sheriff, I go talk. Yeah. Can we go talk?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank y'all everybody for being here. This is what we are. We're going to talk about Joshua Zimmerman. Joshua Zimmerman is
that was wild.
He exploited a flaw in the building design and he escaped from the courthouse. He walked out through an alley, and we were on his trail within about 10 minutes. I'm going to clear up some things. There's stuff circulating that he changed clothes. Joshua Zimmerman did not change any clothes.
Okay, so are they giving this beanie? I know that I've seen, them having a white shirt underneath, but these pants that are, we'll listen to what he has to say.
That man walked out of the courthouse in a pair of underwear, a T-shirt, and some shower shoes. He walked.
A pair of underwear. Wait, let's listen to that. Wait, what? A pair of underwear.
A T-shirt and some shower shoes. There's stuff circulating that he changed clothes. Joshua Zimmerman did not change any clothes. That man walked out of the courthouse in a pair of underwear, a T-shirt, and some shower shoes.
I see pants. I see the shirt. I see a beanie or a cap. It's tough to tell. The shower shoes, yeah, they look like Crocs because there's another photo. Underwear. Now I think he corrects himself later on, and he says pajamas, so pajama pants. But yeah, when I'm like, this guy literally escaped, and he's wandering around in underwear. And then the narratives is that he goes to a Walmart nearby, at a gas station at the Walmart, and asks what they call a good Samaritan to give him a ride. I doubt he was in his But then, like I said, he says he's in his pajamas.
He walked across the street and called a ride. Just that quick.
So here's another shot. I'm assuming this is from the escape because he's got the same, what appears to be like a folder, the white shirt, the cap, appears much. That's why I was saying tan, because it is quite tan. Maybe those are pajamas. The color definitely looks different from the gray, I guess. It looks a little bit more tan, and then you can see that those look like kind of like flip-flops or whatever, shower shoes. But I mean, if that guy was walking past me, I mean, it's tough to tell like the material of the pants from this photo. It's a terrible photo. But yeah, he would just look like an average guy, just doing his thing.
Time was of an essence. Everything worked out for this individual. So the notion that he had help, that's false. The notion that he had an extra set of clothes, that's false. This is a career criminal.
I'm John Woodward. Oh, yeah.
He exploited, I guess you'd say, a soft spot in the courthouse, and he benefited from it.
Did you wear the shower shoes to court that day?
Yes. All inmates, when they're transporting to and from court, they have shower shoes on. That's what they're issued when they go to jail.
Sheriff, I noticed a bunch of different Mississippi cars outside and a Memphis Germantown car outside. Are they here for this investigation, or is it something else?
That's something else.
Okay. Where have you been tracking Zimmerman so far?
I don't want to release that right now. We're moving into phase 2 of our investigation, and that is critical, and it's crucial that we keep that confidential. But I will say this here. There's a reason why we withheld a lot of information while this was going on. When we're doing an investigation, especially when it comes to looking for an inmate who has potential to be violent, we have guys that are out there in the streets, establishing connections, working long hours, dealing with the most hardened criminals in this area. And anytime someone got on TV and talked about this case, I said a prayer, because they were endangering the lives of our guys that are embedded out there in the community trying to locate this guy. Also, it put the public at risk. So that's why we waited a while before we started talking about this, because our guys were out there establishing networks. And
yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I can get both sides, especially if it's early on, but I mean, I think you'd want to get his face in, his face out there as quickly as possible. The public's going to be your biggest help. I mean, I know you're going to have people undercover that are, connected to, gangs, and, they're trying to get word of mouth of movements. I do get that, but I don't know if I agree with that. Love Johnson Summer, yeah.
Everybody that got on TV, everybody that talked about this, that's reckless. And it really put our guys, exposed our guys. And that's the last thing I want these guys to do. They're working so hard to get a phone call that one of our guys was injured because some information was released while they were out there working this case. So this was an ongoing investigation. It was a very intense investigation. And these guys have put in a lot of hours to locate this guy. And
okay, so I'm going to skip this forward. They asked a few questions that are interesting.
Shackles on that, and that he was able to remove those?
Yes, Zimmerman, I will ask that. Zimmerman is a career criminal. That part of the investigation is still ongoing. But I know for a fact that these inmates spend countless number of hours trying to defeat the handcuff system. This guy's been in and out of the system for years. He's been in our system and to that courthouse 6 times. But he has been in our custody for 260 days. This is one thing I want to relay. The fact of the matter that we're talking about this individual escaping should bring comfort to everybody in DeSoto County. Because anywhere else in this country, this individual already have been released. But the fact of the matter that he escaped, that should send everybody else across the country, and shockwaves across this country, that in DeSoto County, you get here, we're going to keep you. We have transported 24,702 inmates back and forth since 2017.
Okay, so I'm going to skip that. So apparently the narrative, again, is that after he escaped and obviously had help, probably from multiple individuals, not sure if we'll ever learn that information, then he apparently went to a Walmart gas station that was close to the courthouse, and there was a Good Samaritan, is what they call him, gave him a ride. And again, we'll look at the map here in just a minute to show you how close. But DeSoto is very close to the border of Tennessee, and it's only 20-minute drive, or 20 miles, so 20 minutes. He had a 6-minute head start. And then we'll talk about his mother here in a bit as well, because his mother also apparently helped him in the early days of him escaping, sending him, I believe, Cash App and stuff like that, and may have been helped him escape, maybe help pay some people off. I don't know. But he's definitely got a network that he's connected to that helped him. So there's the map. Just anybody that's not familiar with that area. And
you said that you walked out.
Sorry, just go back real quick there. But yeah, so this is DeSoto here, June 14th, and all we know is June 15th was his last known sighting. And again, that's just 20 minutes more or less, 20 miles away. So he was across the border. Apparently, there's just a little bit more in this interview, but we learned that he apparently had a 6-minute head start, which that's a lot.
There's no connections in his community. When he walked across that street with those pajamas on, I promise you, nobody actually knew that those were pajamas. He found an individual that was back behind one of the gas stations, and he's a charismatic guy. He asked this guy and said, "Hey, I just got in a fight with my wife. Can you give me a ride to Walmart?" This guy said that I'm going to Memphis. He said that's even better. So it was a good Samaritan that gave this guy a ride, is how he got to Memphis. Everything lined up for Zimmerman. Everything lined up. It was just that day. 260 days of planning. It was just that day that everything lined up for this individual. But I promise you this, we're going to find him.
Well, how do you think he got out of Memphis, on the next leg of his trip to wherever he is now?
Ma'am, I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
Can you say more about the design flaw in the courthouse and if anything's been done to...
That has already been corrected. And I'm not going to say anything about it because, like I said, we're still using that building.
Probably had probably fired the individuals that helped him.
Out there embedded in society, in public, and also the public. So, yes, he's got the potential to be violent. That's just where we are now. But, we talk about, I'm not frustrated by any sense. I'm disappointed. Yeah, I'm disappointed. But we don't focus on the disappointment here. We focus on the lessons learned. And
he's clearly got connections and money. So I have a short video here in a bit. Like I said, I just tried to put some stuff together. I wish I had more time to do more because there's a lot. But I've got plenty in just this show alone. But yeah, apparently in between him getting out getting on parole, I guess, because he had an ankle monitor. Obviously, this is before he killed his girlfriend last year. But he made a video, posted on Facebook, where he's flexing, and he's got, wads of cash in both hands, and, and then you look down, he's got the ankle monitor on, and clearly, so he just barely got on parole. I doubt he was, you make, 10 cents an hour in jail or whatever. So I doubt he made that money while he was incarcerated before this second time, or I don't know how many times he's been incarcerated.
That's what we're focusing on. One of the things that we've already talked about, if an inmate is going to go to court now, under those yellow jumpsuits and those red jumpsuits, they're going to be wearing Speedos. Because I promise you, if Zimmerman had taken his that jumpsuit off and walked across the street in Hernando with a pair of Speedos or a thong on, somebody would have called us. I tell you right now, the North is a direction, the South is a way of life.
I do agree with that. It's too bad that wasn't the case. Apparently he was wearing pajamas that looked like pants to me.
The individual walked across the street with Speedos on, we would have gotten that call. Now, somewhere else in the country, probably not. But here, yes.
So I didn't know that. I mean, I thought they would have like underwear and a shirt under the jumpsuit. But again, like I said, I've never been incarcerated. I've never been in the system. I don't know how that works. But yeah, apparently he had long johns that looked like pants. I mean, we've seen the photo a bunch of times. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Let me see if there's anything else in this interview.
But I just want to emphasize, this guy is a professional.
At how long had he been missing before you realized, and how did your team realize that he was gone?
Head count. He had a 6-minute head start on us. And when you are trying to get away and you're desperate, every second counts. So he had a 6, and we locked this city down less than 8 minutes. This city was on lockdown. Zimmerman got out here in 7.
And that's just tragic because, I mean, it sounds like this Good Samaritan, is whoever mentioned that in the chat, is lucky. I mean, he didn't get robbed or whatever. But yeah, literally 20-minute drive, or 20 miles. I keep saying 20 minutes, but usually a minute an hour. 20 miles away to the border. Well, I think it's 20 miles to Memphis, so I only think it's maybe half of that, so maybe 10 miles to the border. somewhere around in there. So, yeah, he would have been, halfway to the border by the time they're, looking for him, because they're right there.
U.S. Marshals said over the weekend that they had information that he was in Memphis. Was that information based on the Good Samaritan driving him to Memphis? Was he spotted at any other businesses? We did have someone send us a picture, allegedly from a Memphis business.
As I stated earlier, we're moving into phase 2 of our investigation, and I apologize, I cannot answer that question right now.
But you believe that he's out of the Memphis area? We can't release that.
We're not going to release that information right now.
Okay. Do you believe that he's getting help from anybody? I know you said he doesn't have any connections in this area.
I'm not going to answer that question right now.
Okay.
Of course he's getting help.
Can you
Of course.
tell what phase 2 is?
No, ma'am, I can't go into phase 2. All I can tell you about phase 2 is...
And see, this is much different from Danilo, because Danilo was really, from another country. I think he had some family in the States, but not like this guy who's obviously grew up here. I don't know his full background or anything, like where he grew up. I didn't get a chance to deep dive that much, but clearly he's from the States and building connections all his life, and yeah, so clearly has help.
Zimmerman, if you're reading this and you're seeing this, you need to turn yourself in. Turn yourself in, because we're going to find you. Phase 2 is starting, and we're going to look
Were there any guards that were reprimanded during the time when he was...
Ma'am, our guards are the best in the country. I just read you some numbers off about what these guys have done, and like I said, that's one too many, but 24,702 across this country, because I know how professional these guys is. We probably get, since I've been in office, we probably had 392 attempts. Those are fastballs thrown at us. 392 attempts to escape. We have been able to knock out 390 out of the park. 2 fastballs got across the plate. That's fine. We're going to look at them. We're going to adjust our stance. We're going to adjust our grip. We're going to improve our eye and hand coordination.
Okay, so here is... a little too fast. So here's... I think some of the family members... I'm not sure which one this is from. Has obviously been posting... and this says, I am not someone to post my personal issues on social media, but I'm extremely disgusted by Joshua Zimmerman. The torment you're putting your family through is it truly worth it for you, Josh? Nana, mother, I'm assuming, or grandmother, needs our strength. We should be focusing on her, not this BS. For once, do the right thing, turn yourself in, let your mom be free. Josh, your mom needs... Okay, so I'm just talking about his mom. You did the crimes, now face the time. Anyway, so they're not happy. But there's just a look. I guess, remember that sheet that I showed you earlier. Actually, this one's a different one. But yeah, apparently, again, he could be wearing different identities. Cross-dressing, they say. Different disguises. And... from what I understand is the last person to see him, they believe he had shaved his head, because obviously we see here he's kind of got some short hair, but they believe the last time he was seen was shaved head, but obviously it's been 66 days. Could have any kind of disguise by now.
Anybody else, we don't...
Okay, and here's the video I was talking about. This is the one. Oh, and there's him with flexing. Apparently he had just been released from prison. And I believe he had an ankle monitor on, so clearly he's got, as we said before, we have connections. One thing I'm going to say right now is so weird. I don't know. This is something I still need to look into. Kind of going down the conspiracy rabbit hole. Is there's so many things that I've noticed that look like AI enhanced, which is really weird to me. Just kind of, knowing that there's a supposed connection that he may have connections to, he could be a criminal informant. And it's so weird. Like right here, we can see now, maybe just somebody was highlighting the face, but if we zoom in, I can't do it because it's video, but you could tell this is AI enhanced, which is really weird. and some of his other photos as well. Even the ones that were showing him in cross-dressing, which I don't know, maybe they just made those to, just show what he may look like, which is understandable. But I just noticed I came across a lot of stuff where he looked AI generated, which is really weird. Just weird. Again, maybe they're just trying to enhance his features.
Guys, we don't want this guy to go around and hurt.
So, obviously, if you've been following this case, and you're probably aware of this guy, Nick the Hat. It's got tons of videos on this guy. I just pulled one because I wish I had more time to, pull some different different videos. But anyway, he kind of talks about the lore, but it's kind of the stories surrounding this guy and what's been going on.
Anybody else, we don't want anybody to get hurt. We need him brought to justice. The tip line was established today, so we can start ramping up tips. We need to get as many sightings. If any suspicious activity, we need to get as much information over to the federal government to capture Joshua Zimmerman before another person is abducted, is assaulted, and is murdered. Joshua is a very dangerous individual. It's confirmed that he is armed. Keep in mind, when we covered Danilo Cavalcante, we found out he got the gun on, I think, day 12. And that was essentially the eve of his capture. That changed the manhunt drastically. If you guys remember, we were in a cornfield, and all we hear on the radio is the suspect has a rifle. Obviously, that's not a good thing to hear, and our stomachs dropped. In this case, the guy is armed from the gate. He left armed. He is ready to fight. He doesn't have to steal a gun. He has weapons. He is prepared. He is armed, and he is ready. He is not ready to go back to prison, but
so from what I understand, he's on death row, from what I've read. He's not going to go quietly like Danilo. And is clearly, from what they say, armed. According to Nick, is this whole package of him escaping. He got kind of like an escape package. I think I got part of that in here where he talks about that. But it's really scary.
He's ready to go out with a fight, which means do not approach, do not apprehend. If you see somebody that looks like him, don't scream out, Josh. Don't say Zimmerman. Don't say something that'll catch his attention. Don't make it obvious that you're calling the police. Don't make any obvious and suspicious. He is a thrill kill. To tattoo a name on somebody's head, a woman's head, pose with a photo together as if they are a couple, for him to blow her head off. And there's a lot more to the story because he wasn't alone, guys, which adds to the fact that this guy has too much help and they are way too far behind. The poor U.S. Marshals get stuck with a case file that says we have an inmate from Texas in Mississippi. He's suspected of an attempted murder. Meanwhile, the victim's dead. Okay, she's dead. She has a bullet hole through.
I do apologize. I know Nick's a little bit more blunt in some of his choice of words when you're on YouTube. I try to be a little reserved, but I do appreciate his reporting. But I'm sure if you follow this case, and you're probably familiar with Nick the Hat, and
through the head where the tattoo is. The girl is dead. The marshals get involved, and this is not some clown. This isn't even a killer that did it out of passion, like he was angry at a wife that had been together. Not that that's an excuse, but that's a mentality thing. Those people are not so much purebred killers. They bottle it in for years, and then they kill their loved one, but they don't have the urge to go out and then kill their neighbor, right? They don't have the urge to go to 7-Eleven and kidnap your daughter, right? Zimmerman has the urge to kill, the urge to rape, the urge.
Okay, I'm going to skip this just a little bit. I know I kind of vetted this video a little bit, but it was like 40 minutes, and I tried to cut it down, but trying to be careful with the choice of words he used.
Then they come for Zimmerman, and you are going to get the short end of the stick. You know why? Zimmerman is the headline. You're a weasel. All of his accomplices are weasels. you are going to get the short end of the stick. Well,
so he talks about, he's calling out, because I guess since he's been covering this, apparently he believes people have been going in the chat that have connections to him. And I haven't really followed this case, so if you want to fill me in and chat, let me know. But he kind of says that he believes some of the accomplices or potential accomplices that know Joshua end up in his chat and say things. And so anyway, he kind of calls them out. Then I don't want to get it off base because I think he talks about it here, but he kind of talks about a cult that these people that he's connected to, which I try to be careful because, we had the satanic panic in the 80s, and I don't know if this is kind of bringing up, because he brings up different cases that I don't know if are connected to this, but anyway, there is a theory that these people that he has connections to are kind of in a cult, and kind of gets really dark. I'm not going to lie.
It's not the case for Zimmerman. Doesn't have the protection of a multi-billion-dollar garden. Zimmerman does not have the protection of anybody but gang members, potentially, the cult that we have been discussing, and government officials, not a police officer, not a deputy, not a low ranker, not somebody that's doing their job because they want to serve the community. No, this is somebody who should be on the show The Blacklist with Raymond Reddington, because they are living a double life as a law enforcement officer in the day and a criminal of the most vile kind at night. Assisting a killer to get out of prison makes you just as bad as that killer. Everybody that he kills, if he does kill, from the date of the escape, you are an accomplice to murder. You are. People know where he is. I can't say it enough. If you are with Zimmerman, call the police. Okay,
let me skip this forward. Like I said, I know I cut some of this just to try to get to the specifics.
Person to report the whereabouts of Zimmerman, if there are people that know where he is, and there are, do not just the right thing, the thing that's going to keep your life. If you want to live by the sword and die by the sword, just go till Monday, Tuesday when they catch the guy.
Yeah.
Because you might make it until Friday.
And there clearly is.
Zimmerman snitches on you. And don't get it twisted. They say that people that do life won't snitch. When you have somebody who makes the country, and this is what this guy's going to do in the next couple of days, make the country look almost incompetent because we can't catch the guy. When that's not the case, the problem is there are a few bad apples that helped him. When they catch Zimmerman, they are coming for you so fast, and if they don't find you, he will guide them to you. He will tell them. He will. They have tactics. And at the end of the day, those stuff may not be the most...
Okay. I'm going to skip a little bit more here. I know I cut to...
lot of money getting criminals off the hook. They got killers going out on the loose, rapists. Hey, maybe that comes with paying off the individual. They give you a little prison escape starter kit. You get a gun, you get your little snacks, a watermelon, whatever you want. A watermelon's because of Danilo Cavalcante. That's the joke. For those of you that are watching, that's the joke. Danilo was eating watermelon. This guy was given an opportunity of a lifetime. He took it. That doesn't mean that the people that gave it to him are going to get away with any of that. They're just not. They will do the rest of their lives in prison because you just pissed off. The people that are angry, it goes all the way to the top. That's top. When the CIA gets involved, the CIA takes orders from Washington, D.C. This is Bumble F, Mississippi, and it's just a killer. They didn't come for Danilo, who was a convicted murderer that was on his way, trying to get to Brazil, because there was no need to have the CIA chasing an escaped inmate. It's not Osama bin Laden, or is he? What is...
So, according to Nick, again, like I said, this is my first day diving into this case, and I know there's so much more I've got to look at. But according to him, he says that there's CIA, or they have somebody representing the CIA involved in this, which they believe could be hinting that this guy, Joshua, clearly has some kind of criminal informant or some kind of connection where he could be an asset to the government somehow. So really, really, really wild stuff. Is the guy's name Robert or Josh? This guy, the escaped convict, it's Joshua. Let's see what they have on the official one here. And somebody asked what was his weight and stuff. And here's his, so here is all of his aliases. Oh, wow, I missed that. Vincent, Garino, Giuliano, yep. Jamie Quintana, Josh, Joshua, Jay, James Zimmerman. Wow. Michael and Mike, that makes sense. Go with a very a very popular name, Mike. I mean, might as well go Michael Smith. I mean, that Vincent Giuliano, Jamie Quintana. 5'10", 5'10" to 5'11". He is 30. He'll actually be turning 31 this on the 27th of this month. So he's got a birthday coming up. Maybe I hope they'll catch him on his birthday. I'd be kind of, or hopefully sooner, because this guy is clearly a danger to society. Tattoos on neck and arms. It even says here, male might cross-dress. Again, nothing wrong with cross-dressing, but, when you're on the run, that just adds more to the disguise. Occupation, tattoo artist and barber. So that's why he's always got the hair that's really, interesting. I just wanted to look that up real quick. Right now the reward is $25,000. I think it started at like $10,000, went up to $15,000, $20,000. Again, last cited in Memphis, Tennessee, but could be in a bunch of different states. We'll look at those again. But there's some more that Nick talks about. Again, I wish I could condense this down, but I just didn't have enough time to. But there is some interesting stuff.
His ties to national security, that it warrants that. At the end of the day, I'm not complaining, because the more boots on the ground, the better. I mean, the CIA, you can't see them, the way they operate, so it's not really much of a presence, but they are always, they're watching. We need to make sure that DeSoto County, because it's likely that this individual, Joshua Zimmerman, didn't make it far from that courthouse. It's very likely. If you live near that courthouse, I would say, from what I learned on those 14 days in Chester County, and then the 7 or 8 other manhunts in between, that not that we went to, but that we covered just by tweeting and texting people. If the best way to put it is, this guy does not have an out plan except death, crime, murder. That's it. You're not dealing with a person who cares about his family. And if he does, if you are his family, if you're his father, if his father's watching this, which you are, I'm pretty sure it's either his dad or his brother.
So, a little more to that. I just want to pull this up real quick, just to kind of look at it here. Sorry, I wanted to get to that. Let me pull this up here. And I was trying to, but I was doing multiple things. But man, we'll do another part on this, a part 2, of course, especially if there's a sighting. We're definitely going to do the, cover this, because, this story needs to get out there. More people aware of this guy, the better. June, thank you so much for the $4.99. You are so sweet. That helps this channel out so much. We try to give back as much as we can, and we can only do that from your guys' support. So thank you so much, June. I really appreciate it. God bless. So yeah, here's where he escaped, and look. So this is in Hernando, DeSoto County, Mississippi, and this red line, I was just seeing, how far. And again, that's just 20 miles, so it's not far. And that's right in the middle. So, I mean, it's probably only a 10-minute drive to the border. So by the time they even knew, he was probably close to the border. And they probably would have only, because they didn't know they probably didn't know he'd crossed the border, so they could only probably, even though that's when they found out he was escaped, they could only do, in their county, I don't know how much they could have done until they knew that he was across state lines. But this is Memphis. Obviously, Memphis is a big city, so he could be hiding out in there. There has been no sightings since June 15th, so it's possible he could be hiding in this big city here very easily, and it's just a matter of time, if he is, that they crack down and start speaking to individuals that are clearly helping him out, because clearly he's not like Danilo, who's just kind of out there living off the land and off other people's land, I should say. This guy's clearly getting support.
You have a lot of power, man.
So let me
what
skip
you
this.
can do to America, if you're charged with it as a suspected murderer, that caught a lot of attention. And the reason of that is the locals didn't panic, didn't put their guard up, because it was a he's a suspected person charged with, he's suspected for attempting to kill the dead girl. That's what the poster translated to. And so what does the media do? Nothing, because it doesn't have which is weird, because if a guy skips town on a DUI from jail, it's usually on the news. God forbid he had a drink, he's a threat to the community, with a tattoo on the head. What was he planning to do? I mean, tattoo her and go on a date? Highly doubt that. The date was his court date that he skipped out on. Again, guys, so if you see Zimmerman, don't make it up. I'm going to talk to him and then clear it. But if you think you see him, don't go running, because that'll catch his attention, and he's a fast guy.
Okay. I know he talks a little bit more about the background of him. Somewhere in here.
Going to be big changes in Mississippi, in DeSoto County. That courthouse is as close to being considered, I don't even know what to call it. It's never happened, guys. This is like a Watergate, and that's how the government's treating it, but much worse, because this involves a killer. And you guys see how serious they took that. I mean, Watergate and the election scandal, XYZ. I'm not linking those two, but you know what I mean. They go crazy when you come at the government. You cannot make a courthouse in the United States of America look so incompetent that it can't hold a murderer that's going to stand trial to face the punishment for his actions. And you want the public to feel safe with that? That courthouse is about to go out of business. I've never heard of that, because it just doesn't happen. When the courthouse fails to
lose the footage, to have that hard copy stolen, destroyed, whatever, and whatever's on the cloud, that's not good. There was a comment, born in Connecticut, wonder where he lived after that, and that's where a lot of his rap sheet, now you say that, let's see, Connecticut here, so obviously most of these words I can't even say, YouTube doesn't like it, but just that in Connecticut alone. That makes sense. And if we look at Connecticut, just back out here a little bit. So he supposedly got ties in Georgia here, Mississippi, I believe Arkansas. Obviously, he killed that girl in Houston, Texas here. Then there was some New York. I'm trying to think. And I swear they said Cleveland, Ohio. I remember Cleveland came up. Now, I know there's another Cleveland in another state. What else do we have on the list here? Most of them more kind of in the on the eastern part of the states.
Community, and the community no longer feels safe. That place is gone. Because
Nick talking a little bit about the connection to the cult, unless I took it out on accident. All right, so here's him talking about the CIA stuff a little bit.
Check. Pajamas, check. Ride, check. Out of state, check. Hold the lockdown. When should we lock it down? All right, we'll do 8 minutes, 7 minutes, check. Oh, but he got out a minute earlier. It's crazy timing. Let's see what the CIA's here. Oh, great, but the evidence is gone. Like, what's going on? And like, you can't make this stuff up. I don't understand. Perhaps the media is working on a lengthy story to try to catch up, because it's the weirdest case. You don't usually have a guy wanted for attempted murder, only to find out that he's killed a laundry web of people, abducted girls.
Yeah, it is truly. I mean, if you haven't heard this case and you kind of go to look it up, this has been absolutely. I had a tough time because I was getting different dates, so many different stories. It was weird. Like I said, the dates that I had. Now it could be just some people kind of misreporting. It happens. But yeah, just some weird stuff. And then of course, when you start looking, diving deeper into the theories, it's
blew their heads off, rapes men and women, rape men, and he cannot stop because prison. You're just gonna make the prisoners unsafe. They don't even deserve Zimmerman. Honestly, the only person that deserves Zimmerman is down, like literally. That's where he has to go. You could put Zimmerman here, and he'll 15 days ago. They dropped the ball and said this guy was a walk in the park. He's a little bit of a problem, but we'll get him. No, he's the Long Island serial killer, but bald and built better. That's who this guy is. And they're just embarrassed as hell to say it. They're slowly getting there. You know why? Because the U.S. Marshals, they don't play games. Their job is to catch this guy, and they don't.
In some ways, I understand. I want to, have the public freak out, but at the same time, they need to be aware because, I mean, how is you going to catch this guy? Your public's going to be, other than your resources, is going to be your best help. I
don't give a shit about politics. I'm sorry, I don't curse much on the lies, but they don't care about politics. They don't. They are the ones that enhanced it up to murder right off the bat. They don't play these games. They come in, they're the most elite task force. I mean, they raise the most professional task force agents
Waterbury's half an hour.
in
Waterbury.
The U.S. Marshals. Their task forces can, honestly, I would feel safe with them going to war, but I don't want them.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I really like to, before I go live, I really like to deep dive something so I know what I'm talking about. And I feel like even though I spent hours, doing research, I really don't feel like I know much about this case at all because it's tough to find his, his previous stuff before, like the girlfriend in Texas. All the, the rap sheet in Connecticut, like I couldn't find any of that stuff. So I was kind of like, it just kept coming up, his escape and, the whole courthouse thing, which I understand that's going to be, the big story is, oh gosh, this guy walks out and then the footage that, that shows whatever happened is now deleted and gone. And then you kind of got conflicting stories where, the DA guy, I think it's the DA guy, says that, he walked out in street clothes. I don't know. Maybe I guess you could call him street clothes. And then, the other guy's saying he's in his underwear, pajamas. So, and then I thought I had it in here, and I may have accidentally took it out. I was trying to shorten his thing. But you got Dog the Bounty Hunter involved as well, which, again, the more the merrier, I think, because, again, this guy's dangerous. 66 days. And let me pull up the states again. But here are the states. Yeah, Waterbury, Connecticut. Thank you. Florida, Mississippi, a lot of cities in Georgia, North Carolina, Arkansas. So yeah, a few neighboring states. So a lot of kind of the neighboring states to the east here that they believe. And then somebody said there's a Cleveland. What was it? Cleveland, Mississippi. Cleveland, Tennessee. Yeah, isn't there? There's a Cleveland, Tennessee. Maybe that's probably what it was. Yeah, I know there's definitely multiple Clevelands. But yeah, again, last seen in Memphis, Tennessee. So it's unclear if he has moved. I don't know. My money would be that he would try to eventually get across the border. Probably Canada, I would think, or I don't know. Mexico is just as, just as likely. But I think he's a little bit more closer to the north. I mean, as far as Mexico, yeah, he's kind of smack dab right in the middle. But I've heard that he may go for Canada. But yeah, pretty wild story. I wish. Is he live again? I saw him live earlier today. So what kind of made me? I'm like, man, I wanted to cover this again, but or again, but I wanted to cover it because people have told me. Oh, there's the threat level. Yeah, let's look at this. So this is pretty scary. Looking at it. See, doesn't this look like AI? This is the other thing. Like, so many of his photos, not to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but man, some of these photos, they look AI generated or AI enhanced. It's kind of weird. Because AI is like, look how smooth. Like, I mean, this looks like I want to say a model photo, but like, and look, it's creepy as hell. But it just doesn't. It looks AI, like some kind of filter with it. But anyway, threat level. So there's 4 threat levels. You have number 1, death and harm unlikely. I think now. Number 2, Danilo Cavalcante went to number 2, if I recall. And he's at threat level 3. So number 2 is deaths and harm possible. Number 3, deaths and harm are likely. And then number 4 is imminent. So they know, like, maybe he's got a target. So the whole... Sorry, I got something in my throat. The whole on death row would be, I guess, because Texas is a DP state. So, and of course, he killed that girl there. But man, look at how many states this one has. Holy shnikes, this one's got way more. Arkansas, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. Okay, so it's got states of interest, and then might visit. So the ones that we've already mentioned, and then Alabama, DC, Delaware, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, is that LA, right? Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi. Did they put that? Oh, I guess it wasn't the original one. Mississippi, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. I mean, gosh, you named about half the states there. I mean, that's pretty wild. Just looking at the notes on the right here, if it says anything that I haven't mentioned. Oh, so the reward's gone up. So it's now 35,000. So an agency, I guess, put in 10,000, So it is now. So even though this says 25, it says 35. I know you can't see it. I'm sorry. It's just off screen here. I mean, God, I hate Windows 11. Why do you do that to me? It's a little hard to see. But yeah, so it's going up. But yeah, I mean, look at this. So they've got the main areas of interest, secondary regions of interest, potential routes. I mean, that is nuts. Then we got a bunch of hotlines. So, I mean, I guess we better get those out there just in case. But yeah, there's the hotlines. U.S. Marshals, 1-800-336-0102. That's pretty easy to remember. You got the dog bounty hunter and Nick the Hat tip line together, 202-991-0585. Zimmerman text line, that's interesting. Dog Nation, I'm assuming that's Dog the Bounty Hunter as well. But yeah, I mean, this guy has done it all. Very scary. I think there's a Cleveland, Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of Clevelands. Is it 28 states? Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I want to get off track, but I know that there's a lot of Clevelands. AC, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. The most recent pick, again, this is what they believed. Again, it's been 66 days, so I guess this really isn't going to matter anymore because, even though they said he was bald or had a shaved head when he escaped or after he escaped, he could be in any of these, which, I mean, notice the skin complexion in these aren't right. Like, he looks, oh, you can't see this one over here, but it looks much darker skin tone, like whiter skin tone. Again, I'm sure they're just kind of throwing these together just to kind of give people an idea, but I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, just these two, you could put one side by side and be like, holy hell. I mean, I just like these right here. I mean, it's pretty scary. Again, I was a little hesitant on pulling up the cult and stuff. I didn't know how much time or how many people would be kind of invested. If I do another, I'm going to dive into that a little bit just to kind of see where that rabbit hole goes. But again, if you missed it earlier, that there's supposedly kind of mentioned that some of the connections, the gang that he's in or affiliated with, apparently are attached to a cult or are part of a cult, satanic type stuff. Again, I try to be kind of careful on that kind of stuff, but who knows? Oh yeah, definitely makeup. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's definitely yeah. Yeah, could easily, especially with the cross dressing. Yeah, they definitely have the lighter. Not all. I mean, they do definitely have some different skin tones, but yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, if they catch this guy, he's done. Possibly facing the death row. And so, yeah, this guy's got nothing to lose. So he's going to go do anything in his power to evade. Sleepy eye. Does he have a sleepy eye? Lazy eye? Oh, he does. Oh, my God. He does kind of have a lazy eye here. Sleepy eye, however you want to call it. Is that not just that one? Let's see. Yeah, he does. He does kind of have a... I don't know, unless that's reversed. No, his neck. Okay, so his tattoo's on his right side. So, yeah. What is that, like a rose or something? It's tough to tell. It's bad quality. So he got a rose. He's also got some sleeves, tattoos on his. I don't know if it's on both arms. Let's look at this one here. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's kind of different. That tattoo though, because it's over the t-shirt. He'd have to wear a scarf. That's gonna stick out probably the most. That was definitely something they should let the public know, is that that tattoo. Now, of course, once winter comes, then he could be wearing a scarf, and then there's no worry for that. But so look for a woman with 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah, I mean, that's scary. Again, we don't know how much is true or not. I know there's some crazy stories. But man, public needs to be aware. I mean, because that's a dangerous guy, and it's day 66. I mean, it's almost going to be day 67. There is a video with him. I don't have it with me right now, and I don't want to play it only because he uses certain expletives in it. So, or I would play his voice if I had time to go in and edit out those specific words he uses. But there is a video, because he went on Facebook kind of ranting. It's that video I played earlier, which is in between this. Somewhere in here. Obviously it only popped up for a second, but yeah. So yeah, you can hear his voice if you want to. He's a very dangerous guy. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to go live, because, I think the public needs to know. Black and brown people can have very complex. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then with some makeup, definitely. It's kind of scary in that regards, that he could easily change his disguise. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, anything that it kind of sticks out that the public can look out for. I think the neck tattoo is pretty big, because that's obviously, depending on the shirt, what he's wearing is going to stick out. I'm assuming he'd probably stick more to like hoodies, because you kind of have the kind of blocking the neck area a bit. And then if he's got a heavy beard, I don't know if he's going to go a heavy beard like that, but yeah, that eye, I don't know how you'd really hide that as well. Yeah, of course, Budabella. Like I said, I wish I would have had more. Again, I had a tough time. Like, I don't ever really say that when I researching cases. This one was a little tough, because I was trying to get his background, and I couldn't really find anything. I'm sure there's traces of him there, but yeah, I just kept coming up the stuff from the court. Him escaping. And then the video gone, and that's about it. And if we do it again, I'll definitely see if I can dig up some more of the deeper conspiracy, just to have something a little bit more juicy to talk about. Fake beer. I know, I'm telling you, the AI, I say it's AI generated. Some of that stuff looked funky. Like this right here. Like, look at that. That's AI. Like, what the hell? That's almost cartoon. I mean, that's AI. That's too smooth. You look, it actually even broadened out his lazy eye a little bit there. But yeah, look at these two photos. Kind of interesting. Like I said, I started coming across that. I'm like, what in the hell is this? Again, I'm sure somebody was just trying to lighten up the photo or whatever. But holy shit, I mean, looks like what AI does, because it just kind of blends the pixels together. Dude is a sim. Yeah, and I know what you're saying. Yeah. And look at the hair, how it's like just perfect. Now again, he's a barber, so I get like he's particular. But yeah, just someone who's done a lot of AI enhancements. That's because, I mean, if you look at the rest of the picture, say all that looks normal. If you started AI enhancing like down here, like this would look, I mean, this would basically look like up here. It'd be much more smoother pixels. We can start to see the blocks basically. But if we go up to the face, the blocks are, not as predominant, which is very, very weird, man. So weird. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Yeah, like I said, I really like to dive, and know what I'm talking about. I feel like this one, I just barely scratched the surface. But yeah, as soon as anything breaks with this case, of course we'll cover it because I'm sure it's gonna break. Especially if there's a chase. I mean, hopefully maybe there's just, they find him and there's no, oh, we just saw him like 5 minutes ago on camera and, the public's in danger because now they know where he's at and now he's forced to, be kind of put in a position where he could take somebody's life, depending on where he's at. Dan Kravitz says, that's real? Yeah, I don't know. Again, I really wish I would have had more time to really dive into this a little bit more, but I don't know. If there's definitely going to keep my eye on it for sure. So, all right, guys. Mods, thank you for coming in. I apologize. It wasn't a members live. I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. It's kind of early afternoon, but sometimes I have to wait for my prescription, and I don't know. I'm sure. Let me know if you get. I'm sure this is happening in other states, but it seems ever since the pandemic, even basic medication prescriptions, pharmacies will run out of like typical stuff you'd think we'll just say blood pressure medication, they'll be out for like a week. Or they don't know, it's been like that with, and not just one medication. It can be, any of my medications that I take, but anyway, so yeah, sometimes I have that issue, and then so I have to go to another pharmacy, so they have to transfer it. So I've had to do that a couple times. The last times I went to the doctor, because the normal pharmacy I go to doesn't have a medication. And it seems like since the pandemic, that's been a huge issue. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, not even just the States. I'm sure everybody in the world's experienced some kind of, issues. Yeah, see, that's scary. Yeah, especially with that kind of stuff. Diabetes, yeah. That, that's very scary. And I almost wish if that was the case, they should almost, I know it's not their job, but they should almost be reaching out to other pharmacies so that way they can point the customer to the next source, because it's almost like you have to do all the work, anyway, I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. And that is kind of what it is. I'm sure there's other variables in there, but yeah. Yeah, it's tough. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Another huge shout out to Fly Girl for the donation. Sensei, I missed your thing earlier. I meant to grab that. Spill the beans, Chris. I know nothing of this case. We did a little bit. Member for 20 months now. Thank you, Sensei. Hope you're doing well and had a great weekend. June, thank you so much again for the $4.99. And then I think it was Fly Girl, who I maybe donated to the GoFundMe, which I'll probably have up for another couple weeks. If you would like to help, we've been searching for Aidan Clune. If you're not familiar with his case, there's plenty of videos, playlist. We found his shoes in June. We've been searching like crazy before that, and since we found his shoes, we do believe he's out there, but it's a big area. But we do believe he can't have gone far, no more than a mile radius of his shoes. And I would definitely like to be able to get back out there now that it's starting to get a little bit cooler. So, all right, guys. So maybe members live tomorrow, and then we'll get things back in order. But I'll let the mods know tomorrow what we'll do. And then for the paranormal, I just put out a video the other day. It's one that I've had on this channel, but I'm also doing one for the UFO sightings in California. It's a double story. It's that one and another story because, kind of mix some interesting stuff up with the paranormal channel. And yeah, so we've got that. And so the Patreons and stuff will get that video early, which I'm still kind of finishing up. So Misty, thank you so much. Great live. Thank you so much. Member for 2 months. Again, I love you guys, and we will see you guys possibly tomorrow. And here is outro again. Thank you, mods. Have a great weekend, rest of your weekend.